Hey guys, so I guess it's time for another video here, talking about the homestead and things like that. And I think this time I want to talk about being prepared. And I don't mean like the doomsday prepper preparedness, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about living on a homestead and growing your own and raising your own and putting back for the winter so you have food and things to get you through the winter when there's no more growing season. I'm out here on the farm again, and you know, the site's right behind me here where eventually the house will go. There's been some setbacks. I was hoping to be out here the end of June, beginning of July, and that didn't happen. It was paperwork and delays with, you know, we're doing most of the work ourselves, clearing the land and cutting the trees and trying to level out an area to put the house. And between that and, you know, me traveling the 5 hours to get down here once a month and do some work, we're a little behind, but that's okay. Everything in its time. So I want to talk about being prepared. So it's been a long, hot summer down here in Texas and in Oklahoma, and I didn't have a garden this year because, you know, again, I planned on being out here, and I didn't expect to have any harvest. But every year I usually do a pretty substantial garden. Miss M has a garden out here. They do a market garden to take to the farmer's market and sell things. And I guess they did pretty well this year, but it's been hot and it's been a long summer. But it's time now to start canning. We do a lot of canning and pickling and preserving and things like that, so that we have fresh canned vegetables to get through the winter with. We do a lot of canning, pickling. Last year we made some preserves. I think we got apricots, and Miss M made some, excuse me, some grape jam from the wild Mustang grapes that just grow just out of hand out here on the farm. And she makes this tomato sauce that is just outstanding. Now, we don't eat a lot of pasta. Actually, I don't think we eat any pasta anymore. But that sauce can be used for so many different things. You know, we make a keto pizza, which is pretty good. And a nice fresh homemade sauce on it is just amazing. And I make some campanata and things like that usually. I love my eggplant. Unfortunately this year no eggplant, but that's okay. And I think it's important to plan for the future, especially on a homestead. You just never know what's going to happen. Again, I was supposed to be out here the end of June, beginning of July. Didn't happen. So you got to plan, you got to prepare, you got to put things away for every eventuality. You know, we're going to hopefully get to the point where we can and preserve enough for the two of us to get through the entire winter till the next growing season. You know, there's some cattle out here and some goats. Miss M and I have talked about getting into making goat cheese and other goat milk based products to put up for ourselves and maybe for sale down the road. But it's not easy. There's always something that comes up. So this time of year, you got to focus in on that canning, preserving. Now I know coming up on fall, you've got turkey season, deer season, good stuff like that. That'll get you some fresh meat put on the table. But do you preserve that sort of thing? Do you preserve meats? Do you preserve eggs? I personally have never done any egg preserving. I've seen some people, when they have a lot of eggs, they will, I don't know if you call it canning. I guess it's canning, preserving. I've never done it myself, but do you guys do that sort of thing and stockpile and put away for when your chickens don't lay? If it's too hot, too cold, my chickens don't lay. I mean, I've got some really great birds and they're usually pretty good, pretty consistent, but you know, it gets too hot, they don't want to lay anymore. I can't blame them. Midwinter, when it's in the 30s, they don't want to lay then either. I can't blame them there either. So, you know, you can preserve your eggs. You can preserve your vegetables, canning and dehydrating and things like that. You know, sun-dried tomatoes are just amazing when it's freezing cold out and you want to make some fresh chicken soup. And, you know, let's get back to meat. Do you can your meat? I've never canned meat before. I've canned chicken soup, but I've never canned any meat. Do you guys do that sort of thing? Do you stockpile? Do you set aside for the weather, bad times, whatever? You know, things always pop up. Things never seem to go the way you'd hoped or the way you'd planned. You know, that's not just homesteading, that's life in general, you know. Things happen. Are you prepared for things to happen? Do you set aside? Do you save and preserve? Do you save money? You know, hard times happen. Things pop up that you just didn't account for. It's something to think about. You know, when things are good, hey, great. You know, we're in abundance and we're blessed and grateful to have a good crop. But what happens when you don't? Do you have things set aside? You know, last year I did some deer hunting. I didn't get a deer. What if we were relying on that deer to feed us? I think a decent sized buck would probably feed me and Miss M for quite a while. But I didn't get a deer. What would we have done? You know? Do we save? Do we put aside? Do we prep for those hard times? You know, I think our grandparents did. I remember my grandmother having a shelf full of canned things. And I think that was the lifestyle back then. It doesn't seem to be very popular these days. We live in such abundance that we take it for granted. I didn't get a deer. What would we have done? Could we live off from sun-dried tomatoes and Pickles? Maybe. Maybe. Things to think about, you know. We want this lifestyle. We want to kind of be, you know, a little off-grid and homestead and grow our own and raise our own, and things happen. So what do you do when things happen? How do you handle that stuff? I don't know. It's a lot to think about, you know. Abundance is great, but it's not lasting. How do you handle that? Yeah, you could run to Walmart and buy what you need to buy. That's true. But the lifestyle we're trying to live out here is not reliant on Walmart. Not reliant on fast food and, you know, quickie stops and Walmarts and Kroger's and all the other big box stores. We're trying to get away from that and do for ourselves. And what happens when the crop fails? What happens when the fish aren't biting? What happens when you don't get that deer? You know, how do you handle that? How do you plan for the unplannable? You gotta be prepared. You gotta stockpile. You gotta make sure, in a worst case scenario, your family's taken care of and can eat, can thrive in this type of environment. It's not easy. None of it is. I think I've said that several times in different videos. It's not easy. It's a choice to live this way. It's not easy, but it's the lifestyle we want, and it's fulfilling. And you know, when we sit down to the table and have a nice big meal of things that we raised and grew and processed and did ourselves, that's so rewarding. The food is so much better. I know it sounds crazy, but it's better when you've earned it. But there are short times, there are hard times that happen. Do you can? Do you pickle? Do you preserve? How do you do meat? I've never done meat, I said before. That's new to me. I don't know. You know, just kind of a Sunday morning out here, or just some ponderings, you know. Setbacks happen. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you do it? It's always something comes up. It's part of it, I guess, right? It's all right. Make it work. I think that's another thing about this lifestyle, is you get into the habit of making it work. And you do without, you use it up, you keep going. Even the hard times, eventually you come into times of abundance and things go well. So you just gotta, I guess, keep pushing past when things don't go right, and know that eventually things will work out. But how do you get to that point? Tell me what you do. Tell me how you preserve and can and dehydrate and that sort of stuff. Do you do that sort of thing? Do you get ready for the hard times ahead, or just the winters? Nothing grows in the winter. Good luck finding game when it's 30 degrees out. Good luck fishing when it's that kind of weather. Do you stockpile? Do you can? Do you prepare? Do you go with the seasons? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you do. Definitely something to ponder. We're in abundance right now, you know, in this country. Yeah, we're in abundance. It's everybody complains about inflation and debt and all that other stuff, but we're probably living in the best times in the best country right here. Have everything you want. Might not always be that way. What do you do? How do you do it? Do you prepare? I don't know. Tell me what you think. All right. I'm going to sign out. So, I'll get back and do some work on the home site. Keep moving. Keep going forward. So, until the next video, have fun. Be safe. Stay free. Love you guys. Out.